Good morning, everybody. Hey, welcome to this Friday, the first full week of March. Hope it's been a great week. We've had some ups and downs. We'll talk about that and more when Dave joins us here in just a few seconds.
Time checking on your money and find out what's going on Wall Street. The miracle of electronic communications. Phillip Statler is on the road, but he's still with us this morning from an undisclosed location. Phillip, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Dave. Doing well as we finish up this first full week of March, and it's been it's been a herky-jerky week this week, ups and downs.
Yeah, it really certainly has. Yesterday was a herky-jerky up week. Let me see here. Get to my quotes from yesterday. Dow ended up 130 points to the good. Standard & Poor's set a new all-time record, closed the day at 51.57, up 52 points yesterday. In Standard & Poor's land, that's over a full percent. NASDAQ even happier than that, up by 1.5%, up 242 points. And I was kind of taking it as being generated by Powell's statement in front of the Senate yesterday when they were grilling him. He said, yeah, we're not far from cutting interest rates. And boy, that make the more interest-sensitive stocks go crazy, didn't it?
I bet it really did. You know, Dave, if you think about it, I mean, to start talking now about some rate cuts after just what? Last month we were talking about it might be May before, maybe even September before we see a rate cut. That really kind of opens the door back up that maybe, just maybe, we'll see something in May.
Yeah, well, let's keep in mind that not only were we talking about no rate cuts, we had a few economists saying that they might need to look at another rate increase, and now all of a sudden we got the Fed chairman saying, no, we're not far away from loosening things up a little bit. That's that 180-degree turn that scares me when they start putting people like Powell in front of a bunch of congressmen.
Exactly. You're right. It does.
Yeah, the only salvation is the fact that Powell, at the very least, remember, he was Secretary of the Treasury for a while. He's kind of used to what those blowhards do in a congressional hearing, so it's hard to throw him off his game. But nevertheless, that sounded like a little bit of a slip of the tongue. This morning, we kind of call it the culmination of Jobs Week, and we get the official unemployment rate and the number of payrolls added. And this is one of those, before we went on the air, I said my bullcrap detector is going off loud. Step number one, in February, we were expected to add 200,000 jobs, and we were expected to have the unemployment rate hold steady at 3.7%. We overachieved by almost half. We added 275,000 new jobs in the month of February, but the government says the unemployment rate still went up to 3.9%. There's something mathematically that doesn't work in my brain on that number. Does it yours?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how jobs goes up and unemployment goes up too. That's doesn't seem possible, does it?
You gotta wonder. Next Fed meeting is going to be March 20th, and really the only thing that's missing in terms of the picture they're going to have to make their decisions is going to be a CPI reading from last month, and that'll come up next week. The next meeting for the Federal Reserve is the 20th. Nobody expects them to do anything then, but this unemployment number, if you believe the 3.9% increase from 3.7 on the unemployment rate, that tends to indicate that the employment market is finally doing what the Federal Reserve wants it to do, and maybe Powell knew something we didn't yesterday in front of the Senate.
Who knows? That is obviously possible. We'll just have to, we'll have to wait this one out, Dave. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next 6 months.
Yeah, absolutely. Other stuff going on, just of indications. You got a bunch of upgrades and downgrades. I had GE. For a little while, I was referring to them as the amazing shrinking General Electric. I mean, they got dumped from the Dow, and they're not even a particularly large company anymore. But all of a sudden now, they've been upgraded by one of the big brokerage houses to outperform, and that's good news for an old heritage company, I figure. A bunch of other upgrades and downgrades and re-ratings as well, right?
Yeah, and I actually got some earnings, a big earning coming out.
Costco reported.
Yeah, Costco came out, and they had a mixed bag. They missed on revenue, they beat on earnings, and they're really looking at a mixed bag there. they're trading down. They kind of beat them up a little bit. They're down almost 4% this morning.
Woo!
Yeah.
One little miss and you get in trouble.
Yeah, that's for sure. The other one I want to talk about, we see if I can find it here real quick. Sorry. The Gap reported as well.
Mm-hmm.
They did really good. They beat on revenue and earnings. I mean, they made 49 cents a share versus 23 expected. They were getting a nice big bump this morning, up over 8.5% before we get going.
Yeah, the Gap being an off-price store, that would tend to reflect during a little hinky economy. They'd be one of the places that I would kind of expect to be doing well, wouldn't you?
It would. Now, the other one that's doing well right now is, I'm glad to see it, DocuSign. You know, they've had a little rough patch because mortgage applications are down, and that's really kind of, they make some good money in the mortgage market. But they came in and beat this last quarter. They came in at 76 cents a share versus 64 expected. They also beat on revenue. So they've got a nice bump today, Dave. They're up over 9.5% this morning.
That's a nice recovery. Yeah, you and I were both looking at them the last couple of quarters, in fact, and saying, are these guys going to survive now that we're out? Now that we're out of the COVID period, is there going to be enough call for their services? And it sounds like they're going to survive quite nicely, doesn't it?
It does. They're doing well. And then I got one upgrade, Carvana. We talked about them, I think, last week on their earnings report. They did well.
Yeah.
But they also got upgraded by RBC, and that's giving them another 7% to the upside this morning.
All righty. Well, looking at the thing after the unemployment rate came out, there was a generally positive reaction, kind of a knee upward on the major indexes after the report came out at 8:30. 45 minutes before we opened this morning, what are you looking at on the futures right now?
Right now, Dave, I got the Dow basically flat. The S&P 500 is up 1/4 point, and the NASDAQ 100 is up a little over 1/10. The big winner, not surprisingly, the Russell 2000 up 1.1% right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good to run. You got commodities? You want me to do them?
I don't have the commodities here, buddy.
Okay, I'm set. Gold this morning is staging a little bit of a recovery this morning. Let me just get to my futures. There we go. Staging a recovery. It's up a little over 1%, up $21.80 an ounce at $21.87. That's got to be a new high, doesn't it?
21.87, yes, sir.
Yep, another new high for gold. Silver on the is going up as well, only about 0.75% though. It's up 16.7 cents an ounce to 24.74. Crude oil is in the same zip code it was with us yesterday morning. It has not broached $79 yet. It's at 78.71 a barrel as of a couple of seconds ago. Overseas markets, Asian Rim as usual follows our yesterday, and they were up evenly across the day. The mainland Chinese markets up considerably. The Shenzhen was up by like 1.1% yesterday. On the European front, they're a little bit more circumspect because we were kind of down until the unemployment numbers came out. Mixed bag in Europe, like 0.09% to the good right now on the overall index, meaning that's about as flat as a pancake. Phillip, with getting a retirement plan together that lets me retire the way I planned on it takes something more than just a wing and a prayer. It takes some expertise. How do I find you to take advantage of your expertise? Absolutely,
Dave. That's why I developed the Core Retirement Design to help people design that retirement they always dreamed of. Give us a call at 863-382-0037 to schedule your core retirement analysis. And then join us this weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m. and noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning on Highlands News Talk 730, 95.3 FM.
All righty, and then we'll get back together. I'll update everybody on Monday, and I will see you next week, my friend. Have a good trip, all right?
All right, buddy. Have a great day.
Be well. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler.
Do you actually read your finance?
Hey, folks, again, I want to thank you for joining us today. Have a great weekend. Talk to you again on Tuesday. Take care. Bye now.